open up once again in the wonderful, idyllic, love-powered city of Amora Vale. You, the Rebel Claws, for the most part, started out as refugees from your home after you had, when you, sorry, words. This is the part that's getting edited out. When you infiltrated the Star Plaza and ended up unwittingly restoring the spirit of Christmas, but not before someone, Cricket, shot Santa.
Yeah.
Someone may also have slightly committed animal abuse by fighting an entire team of reindeer, but that was for the benefit of the crew.
That was for the benefit of the crew. And a lot of things happened. I would say a lot of mistakes were made, but you guys did what you needed to do. But then, not long after that, you were approached by Yellow Drops, which is the famous pop singer from a couple of decades ago who is now mostly remembered for an annoying, high-pitched Christmas song, who recommended that you get out of town. And she sent you to her place of origin, which was Amora Vale. You guys made it over there and you found a job with a art collector known as Valentina. It's a legitimate job, but using your illegitimate expertise, you are able to flourish. And you were approached by a young girl who asked if you would be able to recover a priceless family heirloom from Cupid's Casino, where it was currently being exhibition. You tentatively agreed because, the whole legitimate thing was a bit of a struggle for you. Cricket was off doing something, which we'll probably ask him about in just a sec. But the rest of you, along with Vol and Jingle Bella, assaulted the casino, during which the Vol murdered a member of the Crimson Serpents pretty much in cold blood. But you managed to escape. You managed to complete your heist, and that kind of got the ball rolling for you guys. You got the taste of it back, the rush of the illegitimate business. And during this interim, the Vol has gone underground because he is a very much wanted bear, as it were. Jingle Bella, during that time, realized that the money she got from the score of the casino was more than enough to take a step back and, I'll say, semi-retire. But who knows, maybe further down the line she may come out of retirement. But during that time, as your gang expanded and took over new territories and hired new people, there was one new up-and-comer. So, James, do you want to tell us about Blizzard?
Yeah, Blizzard's an elf that they picked up along the way. Very reserved, but very fucking weird as well. Crazy things happen around him all the time that are, for those that are not part of the the ghost realm, unexplained. He spends a lot of time attuned and chatting with things that maybe other people don't see. He is a big fan of playing with the weather, not a big fan of physical conflict, however.
Okay, so during that time where Blizzard kind of became a more prominent member of the gang, you found a replacement for one of your lurks. There is still the absence of the Vol, which is noted, but it hasn't slowed you down. You have managed to kind of create this budding enterprise over your sale of magical items. And it is one day, when you guys are away doing whatever it is you want to do to satisfy your vices, that one of you, let's say Deckard, you get a call from Valentina. And it's a simple call. It's, we need you here at the office now. Get everyone together. And the line goes dead.
I guess that's straightforward enough. I'm going to get everybody together. We still have the train parked in Amora Vale?
You do. That is your base of operations. The Polar Express.
Yeah. Valentina's done us pretty straight so far. So I'm going to gather everybody up. head to the office.
Okay. So you gather everybody up. Let's just kind of go around and just give us an idea about your characters and what your vices were, or what you would have been doing to satisfy your vice. Deckard, when that phone call was received, what was Deckard busy doing?
Well, as we know, Deckard's a very business-oriented individual. His downtime itself is almost always at least oriented to the next score. Using my weird vice, I think what I'm going to be doing is engaging in the ghost realm. The kind of ghost poker and ghost drinking, and seeing what it takes to get a little twisted on etheric wines and beers.
Interesting.
Yes, I think that's what I'm going to be doing.
I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, then we go to Travis.
Muted. Tommy's vice is pleasure, so I'm going to be out enjoying all of the finest foods, the finest wines, and the finest company that I can find. And basically just blowing through any money that I may have potentially made on our legitimate and illegitimate business ventures.
Fair enough. Okay, let's go to James. What's Blizzard doing in his downtime?
Yeah, so Blizzard, much like Deckard, spends almost all of his time pursuing his weird vice by seeking out spirits in the ghost field, perhaps even a little bit more antagonistic supernatural entities, but definitely looking for any ghosts around and just chatting with them, mostly trying to learn new eldritch secrets if I can.
Okay. And what about Cricket? What was Cricket doing first and foremost during the casino heist?
I'm curious to this myself.
Okay, so Cricket has a bad gambling problem. So prior to the whole other job, he kind of got in trouble and had to deal with owing somebody a lot of money and pull it out. So unfortunately, it was not able due to not wanting his knees broken. So that's what he was doing at the time. Currently not in debt, but also no money. So very excited to do a score where he gets paid in money instead of body price, in the sense of them not breaking. So that is Cricket at the moment.
Okay.
So effectively, he's the character from A Knight's Tale that comes walking back up all naked and broke.
Okay. So you kind of reconvene and you head to Valentina's head office. And when you get there, you're greeted by Valentina's secretary, who kind of stops you and just goes, you're not here to see Valentina. You want to go through. You want to go through the doors now. Like, that's all. I don't want to get involved in anything that's going on.
This sounds like good news.
Yeah, I'm gonna give her a wink and be like, "We're never here to see Valentina." Like, I know what's going on, and then head through the door.
So you all head through the door, and in front of you, sat in Valentina's desk, is a large, rotund man. Balding, very plump face, almost looks like a giant baby. And he looks at you and goes, "So do you know who I am?"
So I'm gonna ignore this figure for just a minute. I'm gonna look over at Tommy, and be like, "She did say it wasn't Valentina, so this is about as opposite Valentina as we can get, right?" While I'm doing that, I'm going to try to inconspicuously get at my concealed weapon, just in case.
Okay, give me a roll for that. Give me a finesse roll. It's standard. I should really get the rule book for this, to be honest.
Remind me again, if I don't have any dots in finesse, I roll 2 and take the shitty one.
Take the lower one.
That would be a 1.
You're not gonna need
dude,
that.
Where's our lurks?
Yeah.
Soak up all these bad rolls.
Yeah, you're not gonna need that.
I'm just gonna narrow my eye and stay quiet for just a second. So we do have our slide with us who can, if I understand what he was saying correctly, he's got the special ability that lets him detect lying.
He can, yeah. So he will know automatically if anybody is lying to him. Okay,
right.
So if anybody is lying, your slide automatically is aware. Okay, so anybody want to hazard a guess as to who this person is? This baby-looking person.
I guess the first question I'm going to ask for you, DM, is: does it look familiar to me at all? Have we heard anything about a figure like this in the?
You will have heard of a baby like, somebody probably doesn't like being referred to as a baby. But in Amora Vale, there's the owner of the casino, Cupid.
Good.
Shit.
So how's
That's
your mom
probably
and M?
fine. That's probably fine.
What did you say? Kind of looking at you, Tommy.
So how's your mom and M?
I have no idea what you're saying.
It's trying to cut the awkward tension because you seem upset,
Well,
despite your cherubic features.
I think you're quite perceptive.
So for this one, I was going to lean into to Deckard, since we're dealing with somebody who's a little rotund. And just be like, he needs to visit Christmas Town because the fat people there are jolly.
So I'm going to make a show of hiding the humor behind it, and I'll finally kind of take a step forward, and I'll dust my hands off, and I'll hold it out, and I'm just going to be like, so, you ask if we know who you are. Obviously, you're Cupid, and obviously you know who we are. We're busy. Can we move it along here?
Well, I just, considering it was you who fucked me over, I think I deserved a few minutes of your time.
So I'm going to make, just for a brief moment, this big show of, like, us. Barely even know who you are. Never seen you before in my life, but yeah, let's go with that.
Well, when you went and stole from Serafina, whose fucking casino do you think that happened in?
I don't remember.
What casino?
No casino.
Yeah.
We did have a gal that hired us to get her artwork back from her daddy.
I don't give a shit. I don't care.
Oh, well, then
about
good. It
the
was your casino.
circumstances.
So
Yeah. That saved us some
Alright.
time then. Cool.
The circumstances don't, that's not my problem. My problem is you did it in my casino, and we were liable for every item that was in that casino. So who the fuck do you think has had to pay to keep that bitch quiet?
in our defense, your security was trash.
I'm just going to turn and be like, we checked the insurance, right? They were insured. Yeah, you were insured.
Yeah,
I
but
have
do you
no
know
idea if
about,
they were,
do you know
but-
how much of an inconvenience that is?
I mean, if there is an evil entity in this world, it is insurance.
So,
Like, I'm going to nod sagely as if I dropped a huge piece of
Yeah.
wisdom.
All right,
So-
so Cupid, let me get this straight. You're here, you're taxing us because you're upset about a job we worked months ago, and you're
Yeah.
wanting what? Some kind of payback?
Well, I figure
Allegedly.
I figure you owe me.
Oh, that's humorous. You hear that, Tommy? I think we owe this guy.
Yeah, you do.
Do you want, like, an explanation? Maybe an
No.
apology?
No. I'm happy to kind of let you carry on with your childish little enterprise, but you're going to do something for me.
Okay.
I'm just gonna take out like a smoke, go ahead and light it up and nod.
Okay. So, I need someone who does what you do. I need someone who can acquire certain artifacts. There is a person who is in a bit of dire straits, and they're going to need some of those artifacts in order to disappear. All I want you to do is acquire those artifacts, meet with that person, hand them over, and you go on your way, and you'll never have to hear from me again.
So I'll take the cigarette out of my mouth. I'm gonna look over at Tommy and Blizzard again, and I'll be like, "See, it's just like Claus. It's just like Grinch. It's just like Valentina. They always want to insult us. They call us childish, but then they always need something.
To be
You
honest,
got
if
it,
I
Cupid.
didn't need something from you, you'd be at the bottom of a fucking river right now.
Yeah, they always follow up with something like that too. I'll tell you what. Here's the good things. The good things about this is that every time we get a job like this, the people we work for, they end up happy. They end up leaving us alone. In fact, a lot of the times we even get paid for what we do. So, here's the way it's going to work with your job. I know you're posturing, making sure we're nice and scared of you so you can get the best deal possible. That's what it's about. You want the most work for the least amount of money. But you're missing a point here. See, the more we're paid, the more we are loyal. And if you send us out there paying us in, oh, you get to live to see tomorrow, all those artifacts, we have a harder time keeping track of. But see, the more we're getting paid, the more we make sure to keep you satisfied. So your angle's all wrong here. You need a job done? I have a capable crew able to do that job. We are providing a service. You provide us the payment. But it's really up to you.
Okay, I think you drive a bargain, and I think you got a bit of a valid point.
Excellent. Now we can continue as friends.
When he says capable crew, I'm gonna lean in while he's like still talking and just whisper as quietly as I actually can and just be like, "You're talking about us, right?"
So I'm just going to point at Blizzard offhandedly.
I'm gonna ask Blizzard the same question.
I'm just like the whole time they're talking, I'm just like,
Totally disconnected. So now,
Okay,
Mr. Cupid, we continue as friends. This is a much better arrangement. Tell us what artifacts you need and where to take them, and we will discuss the price.
he will reach down and bring out basically just a list.
Okay.
That's what we need.
I'm not even going to look at it just yet. Excellent. You got a timetable on this kind of thing, or
This happens. This has to happen by tonight.
short notice?
Mm-hmm.
I take it we weren't your first pick then.
No, it's more that this is an emergency. This is something that's cropped up. In fact, you were my first pick. I figured, which people owe me something? And
It's
you
a
were at the top of
fantastic
my
plan.
list.
See, here's the way this always goes, and this isn't even just for my crew. This is this line of work in general. There are 3 ways these get done. It's good, it's fast, it's cheap. But you only get to pick 2. Now, if you want fast and cheap, it ain't gonna be good. If you want fast and good, it ain't gonna be cheap. So what are you thinking here?
I'll say fast and good. I've got... You think money is an object for me. It's not.
That's good to know. You seemed real worried about the damages earlier, so I was under an impression that you were a little
It's a reputation
tight.
thing.
Excellent. So this needs to get done by tonight. We have a list of materials. We're taking them to...
Here's the location, and it will give you a location. It's in one of the seedier parts of town. It's like a warehouse.
I'm actually going to pass that to... Who was our location guy? That was one of our lurks, wasn't it?
That
All right,
was
I'm going to pass that to
Jingle Bella.
Tommy.
I'm gonna pretend to read.
Okay. Now let me ask you this before we discuss price up front. These objects, are they yours? Excellent.
No, they're ours. That's why we're taking them. That's
Are these going to be held in a secure place, probably guarding other objects of similar value?
I don't care where you get them from.
A
They're
lot of
going
operational leeway.
They're going to this person who needs them to disappear.
All right. Now, last question before price. I'm going to tuck that list kind of into my pocket. What happened to Valentina?
She's fine. Valentina and I go way back. She understands the nature of my business, and every now and again, if I need to borrow an office, she's happy to oblige.
You know, we've worked with her for a long time. We have a good relationship. I worry about her.
And she holds you in quite high regard. Let's just say she is still happy to turn a blind eye.
All right. Then here's the deal I offer you. I like where you're coming from. We get these items, we take them where they need to go. We end up simpatico. With the rush job, though, need just a little bit extra. Some coin that you think is fair. Obviously, I think that goes without saying. We also might need a little bit of help in the future, a little way to leverage against some other workers in town. If I call you up, put some pressure on these people, is that okay?
Let's see how well you do this job first.
So we're agreed then. Coin,
Coin?
discretion, speed, maybe a little bit of help in the line.
I think if you perform well, I don't see why we can't, establish a good working relationship going forward.
I find that agreeable. What do you think, boys? Is that agreeable?
what are you talking about?
That's a yes from Blizzard. He's on board.
I'm just gonna shrug and nod.
Mr. Cupid? It's alright if I call you Cupid. I think you
Fine.
got yourself a deal.
Okay, so with
Alright.
that, you're excused.
I'm gonna gather up the crew, take them back outside. I'm gonna take a deep breath and be like, that could have gone worse. And take my first look at these lists.
Okay, so without having to go into any sort of detail on the list, these things they're not hard to get a hold of for you. They would be hard to get a hold of for somebody who wasn't in this industry. So for you and your specialities, they are relatively straightforward.
Well, that seems unusually easy.
How extensive is the list?
It would kind of amount to like a medium loadout. So enough for someone to carry on them without looking too sort of conspicuous. And they're all personal items. They're all...
Oh, so this isn't like we get it from our personal stores. We got to go to like this guy's apartment and get pictures of his kids?
No. I mean, personal items in the sense that that's something that someone would carry on them.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you probably do have them in storage, again, because of the nature of the trade that you're in. For you, it's relatively simple, and it would make sense as to why Cupid came to you.
All right.
As opposed to some assassins who might not have access to these things.
I'm just going to nod and be like, hell, half this stuff's back on the train. Should be an easy gig. Hey, when was the last time we ended up working
when we
for...
say easy things. Every time we say this should be easy, it never is.
When was the last time we worked for a big win and everything ended up looking real easy? This should be good. Okay, well, straightforward, I guess. Back to the train, gather up the gear.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to give you an engagement roll.
I'm already married.
I do have a Weaving the Web, which gives me a +1 die to engagement rolls for the operation.
All right. So I think with that then, with Weaving the Web, I'll give you 4 die.
4 die.
All right. So who wants to roll that? Who wants that responsibility?
I've actually already got to roll once tonight.
Or do you want to roll a dice each?
Who?
Because there are 4 of you.
I do like that each. Yeah, let's do a dice each.
All right. Okay. Go for it.
Damn. I got a 1.
A 3. I got a 1, a 3, a 2. What did Eric get?
Rollins, can you roll for me? I don't have any dice, and I'm using my phone to record now.
So we got a 3.
All right, so not good at all. So all failed. Cool. All right, so
super easy. That's how this job's gonna go.
You guys go and you grab the items and you go to the specified location. All right. And it is, again, in sort of more an industrial part of town, there is a warehouse. The warehouse is not in operation. It's obviously been disused for some time, but you are able, with your skills, to quite easily get in. And you are in the sort of main heart of the warehouse, as you have a sort of walkway all around you. And the way you've come in is basically through what would be like the workers' entrance. It's sort of like a side door. As you walk in and the main shutters of the warehouse is shut, you get the impression that there is only really one entrance and exit. And you're kind of standing there as the moonlight sort of peers through the window, sort of semi-illuminating the place, as a figure walks in. So, Couch, do you want to tell people what they see?
So as they see the moonlight illuminate in the perfect way, they see this spindly patchwork figure, and it's like the skin has been stitched together across hands, face, arms, and his clothes seem like they're clothes, but they also seem like they're part of his flesh as he slowly creaks in, slowly, slightly mechanically twitching as he walks towards you.
All right. I guess first things first, same as I ask always, DM, is this individual's description give me anything that I might have heard? Like, is he a known figure, or is this all out of left field?
No. To you, this is not a known individual.
All right. Well, then basic script then.
I'm gonna just kind of casually unsling my giant candy cane that hides my greatsword and just kind of have it next to me.
So I'll take the...
I'm gonna attune to the ghost field and see if I notice anything peculiar about this individual.
Okay, so do you wanna give me an attune? So obviously for this it would be just
when it falls on the floor, it's always
4.
a 6.
It's a floor 6.
I got a 4. and I lost the
Okay,
other dice.
so Couch, would you say if he were to attune to the ghost field, would there be any sort of information that he'd potentially be able to gather? And if so, what information would that be?
So when you're talking about ghost field, obviously, sort of touching on, I have no attunement to the ghost field myself. So if you're talking about what probably follows him, you would probably find some sort of sorrow hanging behind him and anger from things that maybe are not happy that he's still alive.
Curious.
Do you say curious out loud?
Yes.
There. All right. I'll take the duffel bag kind of in hand that's got the materials we've gathered up from our personal stores. And hearing Blizzard say that, I'm just going to call out. It's like, say how to phrase it. We got a package here from a mutual friend. You think these are for you? I'm going to see how he responds.
I'm going to stupidly say, Cupid.
Yes, the one that said that people would be here. Yes, let me look at the bag. Let me look at the bag. And he starts to twitch and creep towards you. And obviously you see like the bones seem to have joints that just do that on the way to you as he reaches out towards the bag.
All right, I'll take a few steps forward to make sure there's an interposing space between the majority of the crew and him. And I'm just going to hold out the bag, let him take it, and say something along the lines of, you ain't from around here, are you?
And he sort of starts looking through the bag, and you start seeing picking out some of the items, and then all of a sudden, like little slots that he finds, and he just starts attaching things into his clothes and stuff. And he looks at you. What gave it away?
Just
The appearance of you losing a fight with a rather large industrial blender.
yeah, that helps. Okay, well,
Again, lacking all class and decorum.
Yeah.
package delivered. Next part's to help you get out of town.
Yes.
If I
Yes. I
understand
need
it
to
right.
leave. I need to get out of here. Do you know Nightshade Pines?
Looks at the DM.
You guys will have possibly, in the same way that you would have heard of Amora Vale back in the day, you would have heard of Nightshade Pines. It is another sort of city in this sort of microcosm of cities, but this one is dark. It is eerie. It is supernatural in nature.
We haven't spent any time there, but it's a known city. Okay.
Yes. So
I'm
I
going to
need
shrug and
to
shake
get
my
out
head.
of
That's
here.
outside of my realm.
Blizzard,
You
you
look.
spend any time in Creeptown?
Not recently.
Well,
Did I?
what was it he said? He said fast and good, right? You think we should just take the train? I'm just gonna kind of ignore the rag man for a minute. Look back at the crew.
Drive.
As you're discussing this, you guys are all kind of in the center of this sort of large warehouse, and you are discussing this, and all of a sudden you hear a shot ring out, and it hits Tommy. Now, if you want to use stress, if you want to negate that, you can do a roll to see if you can negate the harm that this shot is going to cause you. So,
No, I'm pretty heavily armored. I'm just going to...
So you're going to use your armor slot to negate it.
Yeah, I have heavy armor on.
Okay, so this shot rings out and boom, hits your armor. It knocks you back. As you look up the walkway and you see a man there with an automatic rifle. And it is one of the Crimson Serpents.
These bastards again.
And he's the first. Yes, Cricket.
So the moment I see this, I'm just going to shoot.
Just no
Okay.
hesitation.
We'll get to that in just a second.
Yep, I'm just letting you know.
We'll get to that in just a second. So, he comes out. But obviously, all around the walkway, you now realize that you are in a kill zone. And every one of you recognizes the colors and the insignias of the Crimson Serpents for different reasons. All right, so because you failed your engagement roll, I used Tommy as narrative, but this first volley is going to effectively hit you. So if you wanted roll resistance rolls to negate the harm,
Yeah.
or if not, you just take the harm. That is entirely up to you.
1 second. I'm opening up resistance in the rule book here. Make sure I'm doing this right.
Just took it on the armor.
So you took it on the armor. So Mark, how many slots has heavy armor got?
3.
3.
So yeah, so you take 1 slot there. Your hit's already been resolved. It's just the rest of them.
Gotcha.
Regular
No.
armor. I'm going to take it on the armor as well.
Okay, so your armor also gets hit as well.
I also have regular armor, but I want to try the resistance roll.
So the resistance roll, this will be a prowess roll. So however many dots vertically you've got in thingy. So what you do, you roll, and your highest dice is 6 minus your highest dice in stress.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that armor.
Yeah?
That armor as well. So I'm going to spend my armor.
Okay. Your armor is now spent.
Well, that sucks. So, we're in effectively a crossfire kill box, you said.
You are. So what is Couch?
Yes,
You're also getting hit by this.
I'm going into resistance.
Okay, so 6 minus your highest roll in prowess.
That's a 6.
Okay, so you take no stress whatsoever, but you manage to resist. What about you, Cricket?
I'm going to use my armor.
Okay, so
my armor's spent.
all right. Your armor is spent. Okay, but you are in a kill box. Now I kind of turn it over to you. Cricket, you said you were immediately firing back.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wouldn't hesitate. I would
So-
shoot at just the one that shot at us. I wouldn't think logically as to like the best one. So I would just
Okay.
like turn and shoot.
Okay, so what do you want to roll for that? It is going to be a desperate roll. This entire scene, unless you improve your position right now, is going to be desperate.
So
So what is your objective? What do you want to accomplish by shooting? Do you want to kill him?
I want to at least get, like just hit him mainly. That's the biggest thing is to put one in him. Kill him obviously, but putting one in him would be nice, and I can use finesse for it, can I?
Yeah. As long as you can argue, give me a rationale. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm trying to put one in him, like hopefully like in his head, but obviously wherever it may be. So if I have
Okay,
two in
so
finesse,
you're
it's
going-
2d6, right?
So yeah, 2d6. So if you're doing, it's going to be desperate, and yeah, it's going to be a great effect if you manage to pull this off.
So you're attempting to do damage over suppress is the summary in that.
Yeah, I mean, it would be the reaction to it.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
No, sorry, I'll say desperate standard because then you can still exceed. Okay, so give me a roll.
James, can you throw 2 dice for me?
Oh, yeah.
Buddy, pal, amiga.
4.
Mixed.
Okay, so
Is that 4 altogether? Like 2 each one? I'm crying.
No, you just take the highest die.
no,
Yeah,
you
you
take
take
the
dice.
highest dice.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Wait a minute.
Okay, so on a four, what I'll say is you do manage to kind of clip him, but someone else comes and takes a shot, doesn't hit you, but it manages to kind of knock you off kilter, as it were. So anything you do kind of going forward, you're only going to have a limited effect at least for your next sort of action. What is everybody else doing? You are currently in a kill zone.
Is the
Okay.
assuming we're in a warehouse, assuming it's pretty industrial, the rails that they're on the overhead, is it all made out of metal?
Let me have a look. I'll give you a luck roll for that. Okay.
What is?
So yes, it is metal.
I'm gonna shoot a lightning bolt.
All right.
There you go.
Okay. So what?
This is why we hired him.
What is your intention? What do you want to accomplish with this?
Suppression. I'm just trying to get them to. I mean, if it hurts any of them, cool. But mostly, I'm just trying to get them out so that we can get out.
So as widespread as possible, I
Yeah.
imagine. Okay, so it's going to be desperate, and I will put, because of the metal thing, I will give you a standard. There'll be desperate standard for this. So
Okay, because I'm a
Um,
Tempest Whisper, so I will take 1 stress for doing this to add an extra dice additionally to shooting the lightning bolt itself.
okay, so what's that give you? 3 dice
5
in a
dice.
tune? 5 dice. Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
2 6s.
Okay, so that is a great effect. So you manage to hit, and all of a sudden you just see the electricity coursing through this railing, going from one side of the room all around the other, and you just hear the sort of scream, like the sudden, not necessarily scream, but the sort of the shock, for pun intended, but as they hit by this, and that is going to improve your position to risky going forward. All right, because
Nice.
it is
Excellent.
slowing them down. Okay, Tommy.
I'm going to activate one of my abilities, which is not to be trifled with, that allows me to take a point of stress to perform a feat of physical force that verges on the superhuman.
And what do you want to do with that?
I'm going to pick up the biggest, heaviest crate in this industrial warehouse or piece of equipment or
Throw a forklift at him.
whatever is handy,
Mm-hmm.
and I am going to hurl it as hard as I possibly can at the walkway itself to see if I can get the walkway to collapse.
Okay, so you can give me... What have you got? What are you thinking? Wreck?
I've got 4 of the little vertical things in prowess and 2 dots of wreck.
So it would be not prowess, it'd be wreck.
Okay,
It'd be...
just wreck? Okay.
Yeah, use a skill as
2 dots.
opposed to an ability.
I'm going to.
I got 2 6s. I box card.
Okay,
Never mind. I'm good.
all right, so you go and pick up... Tell me, what are you picking up? What does this look like?
I'm gonna just,
Forklift.
I mean, industrial. No, I'm gonna go with something way more loud and chaotic. I'm gonna pick up a bundle of like the industrial like pipe that they band together with like the big metal bands,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
and I'm gonna pick up just a whole like bundle of it and just hurl it into the walkway.
So you...
That way, when it shatters, it's just a rain of pipe and people and walkway. And
So yeah, when you throw this, it hits the walkway, which in of itself begins to kind of tear down, and you just see a couple of bodies fall from the walkway and hit really hard on the concrete below. But also the band on this piping splits, and they kind of spring out. So there are a couple of like people on either side of the walkway who initially weren't hit by this, but all of a sudden with it springing out, it just absolutely decimates them.
I'm also gonna shout, "This was a new fucking shirt" as I run for the door.
So you begin running for the door, but that still leaves us with Deckard and Couch. What's your character's name? I never made a note of that.
Darklight.
Darklight, that's the one. So Darklight and Deckard.
My plan is to effectively just try to get everybody moving.
Mhm.
I was likewise going to draw my weapon. I wasn't even really going to be aiming for anybody in particular, just trying to suppress them and get them to get their heads down as much as I can.
Hmm.
Now that everything is starting to collapse, I'm going to do the same thing, but it's going to be more getting everybody out, particularly the contract. And so I'm going to see if I can encourage Darklight, just grab him, push him, shove him, whatever. Like, we got to go. And try to get everybody in the team moving and out the door while the chaos is going on.
Okay, so for that, if you wanted to give me it's all good because I come into these knowing exactly what I need to do, but then when we start playing, I forget fucking everything.
Well, and I was trying to find the deals for group actions. I know I read them earlier.
Yeah, group actions, you basically all roll the same thing, and for every failure, you take stress.
Right. So for the teamwork stuff, let me get to it here. So it says I can assist another PC who's rolling, or to lead a group action, or protect a teammate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a protect action on the contract. I don't know Darklight much yet at all.
Okay, so what skill would you want to be using that with that? What
I'm
are you
actually going to
thinking?
try to get the whole team moving, so I was thinking I was going to go with a command roll.
Okay, yeah, command works.
And I'll drop some shots out of my sidearm at the railing. I'm not really trying to do any damage. I'm just trying to keep everybody nice and freaked out. And I'm definitely sure that the 9mm rounds A lot more scary than the thunderous bundle of pipe that just collapsed all of
Yeah,
their
of
footing.
course. I mean, it's
I was gonna ask you what railing. I think between James and I think we've successfully ruined this warehouse.
Oh yeah, between a
I mean, the
lightning strike
warehouse.
and
The warehouse is heavily damaged, and you've done a lot of sort of damage to them. But at the same time, it seems that they keep on coming. They wanted you dead, and you know they came expecting this, so you know you are
in fact,
not. Mm.
while I'm doing that, I'm just gonna drop the question at Darklight on if he knows what the hell what's with these guys. Are these friends of yours? I got twin fives, so 5.
Twin five. So you do succeed at a cost. So what I will say is that the time that you are sort of doing that, the Crimson Serpents manage to sort of regroup, and whether it's more people coming through the door or whether it's anything like that, they manage to regroup. So that is once again putting your position back into desperate. So with that, Darklight, what are you doing?
So first thing he does is obviously he's looking at what he's being advertised by Deckard as a getting out strategy. Here's these friends of yours, looks and goes, no, they're not. Something went terribly wrong. That's why we need to leave. And he's going to try and get out. Obviously, we're going out the main exit.
Yeah.
I want to probably try and use my prowl because he's going to try and get out sneakily.
Okay, yeah. So you're trying to kind of take cover and get out as sneakily as possible. Yeah, I'll allow prowl. Desperate.
Cool. And then what I will do is, if that's the case, I'm going to use my ability, which is my Devil's Footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to push myself to do a superhuman athletic feat or confuse my enemies to attack each other. So I'm actually going to use that side.
Interesting.
So I'm going to use my ability to stealth to try and wheedle my way around and get them to point their guns at each other and start firing as I'm
like
leaving.
it. I like it. And you want to do that with prowl, yeah?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So let's see how you do. It's going to be, yeah. I'll say desperate standard.
So DM, while he's rolling, I know on my set that the cost from because I only had the 5 knocked us back down into desperate. But did my action succeed at finding a clear way out? Okay.
Yeah. Your action did succeed. Sorry, I should have been clearer on that. What'd you get?
So, I got 2 1s, a 4 and a 6.
That is a success.
Yeah.
All right. So on a success, so what you do. So how does this look? Yeah, I'll let you kind of describe it.
So all of a sudden, this janky Twitch softens out, and his eyes change, and he just sort of looks and goes, says what he said about these aren't friends of mine, and he just slithers and starts to wrap his way around different vents, different cables, and he manages to get up and over the walkways which are electrified and starting to show, and all of a sudden you see all the enemies start to point as he's racing through with this superhuman speed, and they start shooting at each other as he lands back down next to you, Deckard, and go, time to go, and he starts to run.
Okay,
Yep. Everybody follow Stitches.
All right.
I'm gonna bodily grab Cricket on the way out.
Okay, so Cricket, you are firing
thanks.
away, and all of a sudden, you just feel this big arm sort of wrap around you and launch you off your feet as you are still firing. I like that image. And you guys managed to make it outside. All right, you guys rolled really well. That was meant to.
Can I take one more little action?
Yeah, I'll allow that. Yeah, you guys are basically out, so.
As I'm sprinting to the door, I'm gonna shout and ask if this is because their boss died like a fool.
The shots keep on coming, and as you kind of say that, one shot just kind of ricochets off like a door frame next to you, and you think, I might not have liked that.
Remember when we had a normal job and we worked in a toy factory? That was wild, right?
That was good times. You remember when we were just working at the art museum, and we would just turn and keep loose and just random shots? when people weren't shooting at us every day, those were the days.
Okay, so I will say that you managed to get to relative safety. But there are a lot more questions now. So I want to see how that plays out.
So,
All right, so
obviously,
now that
as we've sort of calmed down,
where are we going?
I'm going to say that
What were you saying, Couch?
I was going to say that all of a sudden, after we've got away, his joints start to twitch again. He starts to get that mechanical look back. He's still moving like quickly, but his mechanical appearance has returned, as you're now noticing.
While we're kind of getting through there, I'm gonna make sure, just kind of quick, Tommy, make sure you're in the back. Don't let anybody sneak up on us.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like getting shot in the back to protect all of you.
Somebody's got to do it.
Cricket, go up front
That's what-
so that we don't watch you disappear again. Let's get to the train. And then I'm going to turn to Darklight. I guess we don't actually know your name yet. I'm going to turn to Stitches and just be like, it takes a lot of effort to piss these people off more than we've pissed them off. Let's get you out of town.
Thank you. And he sort of, once again, you see him slow down and just start to move his head side to side as he's sort of looking at everyone.
If we have time while we're just kind of alley dashing, I'll ask. And I know it's not like in contract, so I'll make it clear to him that he doesn't have to answer. But I'll ask, what is it that you did that got every serpent in town gunning for you?
Well, I got brought here to do my job, but they knew I was doing my job. So everyone else, I'm the last one. Now I need to get home.
Travis.
I'm gonna do like a little survey, basically just keeping an eye out as I'm running, but I'm gonna think back on that ambush and see if we were supposed to be the initial target for that, or if
Do you
the person
remember?
we're escorting is supposed to be their initial target.
Do you remember the casino job?
I do.
Do you remember who Serafina used as security?
The Crimson Serpents.
That thought hits you like a sledgehammer, and it's like, whoa, he wasn't necessarily the target. We were all the targets. We were all brought together.
Ooh, this
And
was
the
a setup.
Yeah, that's Cupid.
See, this is why you can't trust upset babies.
So you would think a mob-style boss of a casino would be a trustworthy individual. Boys, I think it might be time to let this town rest for a while. Okay, new guy.
Yeah,
We're supposed to
You
be
said you're the
jolly.
last one?
I was of the group I was with.
You got anybody else going to be chasing you besides serpents?
Don't rightly know. Don't think so.
Good enough. We do. Yeah, I think it's just going to be a shag-ass straight back to the train. And we'll figure out a way to get back at Cupid later.
Dibs on driving.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Okay, so you getting back to the train. Okay? You do make it back there. And so what is your plan? Are you just wanting to ditch town?
No, yeah, but we got to get everybody back together. Do we have any assets in town that we couldn't just like bail on? Because I know we have the new thugs and stuff, but most of them are on the train, right?
Well, you've got your gang, essentially. You've got your territory. To be honest, if you were to bail, you would probably lose that. You would probably lose that territory. And you get the impression that with what you just did to the serpents and the fact that they've just made a lot of noise, a lot of them will be wanting to go underground quickly. So if there is a time to find out what's going on and potentially getting back at the serpents and getting rid of them, now might be a good time to do that, because they've made a lot of noise in that warehouse. There's going to be a lot of heat on them. So they're going to want to at least hide to a certain degree, or at least a substantial amount of their force would probably have to hide. So, there is a chance that striking while the iron is hot. Because if Cupid was in on this, he doesn't know whether you're alive or dead, so getting to see him might be a lot easier than wait.
All right, let's do it like this then. So if we have a window here, but it's not like a big window. All right, new guy.
I do have.
Stitches.
Yeah. My name, if you need to stop calling me Stitches, is Dark Light.
Dark light. Evocative. I'm Deckard. That's Tommy. That's Blizzard. The slide
Nice to meet.
is Cricket.
Cricket.
I
So
gotta
what-
ask you a
what-
couple questions that are normally not questions I would ask in this type of contract.
Okay.
I'd appreciate it if you shared with us. What is it
Yeah.
you do? What was your job?
Well, in my town, they call it I'm a spookster.
What would you call it in this town?
What would you call? I have the ability to break into things and hide and be very sneaky. I jump scare people. That's my job. My job is to jump scare people.
You're a Jingle Bella.
That's very convenient. Do you have any loyalties to the factions here in Allura Vale?
Well, after they turned on me, no.
We got hired and double-crossed, it looks like double-crossed, by the guy in charge of one of the biggest organizations here in town. And after the mess that we made in the warehouse district, particularly with a show of force like we got from Tommy and Blizzard, we might have an opportunity to figure out what's exactly going on and lose as little of our current racket as possible. Feel
Actually,
like
we have a
making some-
pretty good potential to gain some racket, because if we
Yeah.
can eliminate a rival crew, that definitely gives us plenty of room for expansion.
I mean,
So I
I'd
don't
like
do
to
this
know
very
who
often.
double-crossed me and my group.
That's a good. So it seems like we can both win from this scenario. You feel like a little bit of a team up?
Yeah, I can always go for some scaring.
Well, you didn't turn on me and mine back at the warehouse, and you didn't leave us for dead. It's good enough for me.
Crew, I am going to bid you a brief adieu, and I'm going to go hit up some of the houses of ill repute in Allura Vale and see if we can't track down some information on where these guys might be going to ground, because
Yeah.
pillow talk can be quite dangerous for people.
Yeah, DM, do we got time to do like a gather information? Try to set up a secondary score here?
I'll say you can do a gather information. Your information is going to be limited.
Okay.
Because of the amount of time that you've got.
Blizzard, you got anything that you might be able to ask the spooky side to get us some help? Any way to gather information? I don't know how your stuff works.
I can look around.
That's good. So Tommy's gonna do that. If you can talk to the ghosts, Dark, I guess if we're gonna be teaming up and potentially hurting some folk, who were
Yeah.
you working for? Why were you here?
I'm a freelance. Me and my group, we all were freelance. We
Do you
got
know
paid
who
the
hired
right
you?
amount of money. We never ask questions. We get paid the money we get paid. We turn up when we're told to turn up. We do our job. This time, it didn't go the way that it should have gone.
I'm gonna grumble about freaking Bravos. And all right,
I got a
You sure?
5 and a 3 on my consort check with my houses of ill repute to get information on the Crimson Serpent's location.
Okay, so in terms of their location, they have a prominent sort of base of operations, which is in a brothel based in. Where am I?
We're gonna get control of our first brothel?
yeah, we haven't had a brothel before.
Where is it? Just finding the. Okay, so in Whispering Pines, they've got a brothel. That is their base of operations. However, you guys run a gang. When your crew makes a lot of noise, they don't go back to the base of operations. So
We gotta squeeze them somehow.
a lot of their sort of strength will have gone underground. However, to keep appearances, the higher ups would probably still be at the brothel.
Darklight, you got any way you can get us some extra information? Well, the team's everybody's splitting up to get information, right? You got anything you can do to help us out? Can you check in with the guy who hired you, or your liaison, or you guess you said the rest of the crew was dead, or do you need to just
Yeah.
hide while we take care of this?
I mean, I'm not exactly subtle. I look a lot different than everyone else here. So I was hiding in the warehouse district.
Tell you what, you just stick with me for the time being, then we'll make sure everything's good.
Okay,
I mean,
I think Eric wanted to ask something.
Yeah, so with some previous gambling habits and the such, I was going to use Consort to try to get information from people.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, what information are you looking to get?
So I missed part of like exactly what we're doing. I don't want anyone to have to rehash, but It would just be the same stuff that Travis was looking for. So the
Hmm.
information that he mentioned he was trying to get, I would just be trying to get it, but from a different approach. Um,
Hmm.
I feel like since with the gambling and stuff like that, especially being in trouble and then paying back, um, they'd probably be a lot nicer to me. We'd
Okay,
probably have
so
a good
what
bond.
I will. Okay, because you're going down the gambling route, what I'll give you is that you find out that there is. You don't find out any specifics, but you find out that there is some sort of agreement between Cupid and the Crimson Serpents. Maybe he owed them a favor. Maybe they were. You're not entirely sure. But there has been some agreement made at some point between Cupid and the Crimson Serpents after your casino job.
Okay, so they developed a relationship after that job.
Yep.
Okay. So I'd share that with everybody so everybody knows.
Remind me, DM, Serafina, she survived, right? We didn't kill her?
You did kill Serafina.
Okay.
We did ruin her art gallery display.
You ruined her art gallery. You also ruined her racket.
Indeed. We shut her racket down.
So
Alright,
basically, she's out of the. Or from what, for what you know, she is out of the picture because you basically brought up this. Okay, here's evidence of the things that you've been doing.
Yeah. She doesn't really have a stance that would be of use for us to leverage against either. Alright,
She
I'm
doesn't have
also...
any power anymore. We basically just
Yeah.
exposed her to the world.
I'm going to activate Weaving the Web. Obviously, it gives me the +1 die to engagement rolls, but it also gives me +1 die to gather information on a target for a score. So I'm going to try to specifically figure out what Cupid's bargain is with the serpents and who's paying them. Like who's getting it set up now? Because if the whole gang's acting on just a vengeance from the job against Serafina, that's one thing. But if somebody's paying them, we can go a different route with that. So I would like to get that information.
Okay. So the Crimson Serpents, much like yourselves, are self-funded. Alright? They will do jobs for... kind of like yourselves, for the highest bidder.
So they're effectively just a rival gang then.
It is a rival gang. In terms of the agreement between them and Cupid, in much the same way that he kind of had to pay some reparations for the property being stolen on his premises, there was also a member of the Crimson Serpents murdered on his premises, which puts him in a very, very complicated position. Because as powerful as Cupid is, he relies on the gangs of Amora Vale. He is like a central figure that relies on the gangs, as well as the same time, he is an independent entity. You know, the power he wields himself is legitimate. You know, it's all security forces and all that work for the casino. But he does leverage a lot of what he does on the gangs. So the Crimson Serpents, being a very powerful gang in town, is one that he probably wants to keep on side. So knowing that, you know that it isn't necessarily a relationship based on loyalty. It's the highest bidder.
Or an
Right now,
exchange of favors.
Right now, the Crimson Serpents are that highest bidder, but if they were to
suddenly
go
stopped
away,
existing,
or they got taken over,
I have an
The
idea
kingpin.
that I think is
Hmm?
kind of clever and will help us out if we're going to be taking out.
Yeah.
I'm venturing a guess and say we're going to strike at the head. Right.
Let's see what we get from the ghost field and what Darklight can get for us. Then we'll.
Well, we also have to remember we have a crew of thugs at our disposal. So when we go to hit the headquarters, if we have our thugs start hitting obvious Crimson Serpent holdings, i.e. other places that they say provide protection to, they'll have to respond. So our thugs hit all these places. They have to send people out to assess and investigate, which further weakens, because that crew's going to have to go to ground after making that noise. Crews are going to have to come out and assess what damage is happening to their holdings, which further weakens the headquarters, making it easier for us to get in.
So going back to Blizzard, were you trying to attune? Were you trying to gain information by attuning?
Yeah, I'm going to try to seek out ghosts that have in particularly been wronged or people that were killed by the crimson. What are they called? Crimson snakes.
Crimson
sash?
Serpents.
Crimson serpents.
I think part of the ongoing joke is we never get their name right. So
those red bandana people.
yeah, the red bandana, the blood snakes,
The magenta cobras. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, so give me an attune roll. Let's see what you can figure out.
2 6s.
You guys are on fire tonight. So you figure out you commune with the ghostly presence in Amora Vale. And you talk to various sources. You talk to victims that have been killed by them, people who've disappeared. But you also talk to ghosts that have been misused and mistreated by the Crimson Serpents themselves. Because one of their head, as it were, is another Whisper who goes by the name of Lanathar. And they tell you he is incredibly powerful.
Can you spell that? I'm trying to take notes here.
LANETHARR.
Thank you.
Besides just the general very powerful, do they have any information on location?
Yeah, so they will be able to pinpoint exactly where the last time they were summoned to do Lanathar's bidding, and they will give you the exact location, which will coincide to information gathered by the other members of the team as their headquarters. Couch.
I now know what I want to do.
Okay, what would
So
that be?
obviously, after everyone's done their bits and pieces, obviously, we know where the headquarters is now, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So can I, with Deckard's blessing, can I use my ability to scout the headquarters out?
I like that plan.
Yes, you can.
My prowl is, I've got 3 in prowl.
Mm-hmm.
So my ability to be sneaky and check stuff out is up there. So if I do that, try and add to this as well.
Roll me a prowl.
I want to actually work with Couch on a setup. I'm going to use my ability again. Instead of using the lightning bolt, I am going to create a downpour storm over the area to cover him up. So give him, I believe it's a setup gives him an extra dice, I believe.
Okay, so take stress, and Couch, you can take dice.
Okay, cool.
So you're using 4 dice?
Yep. Okay. So 1 5, 2 4s, and a 2.
Okay, so you do. What I will say is you get the means of entry. Okay, I'll leave that entirely up to you. You find out their headquarters with the help from the downpour. You manage to kind of get in and out unseen. However, what you don't see, and this is what the 5 comes in, is a way to sneak in. There's a front door, it's heavily guarded, everywhere seems to be guarded. So what you don't manage to see is a way to get in undetected. So that is something that you are going to have to create. Should that be the tact? Should you want to go the infiltration route? Yes, Ryan.
So, given the information that we have all together, right? Everybody learned their little bits and pieces and stuff. Could we? So part of the Hawker stuff, there are our crew setup. We have the show of force, territory grab.
Mm-hmm.
We could just do this Tommy style and roll up on the door. We haven't done a blunt job before.
Everybody likes a good smash and grab.
Have we learned anything in our collective information that would show that would be just like a suicidal plan?
Not necessarily suicide, but before I continue, Eric had his hand up.
So when they did their recon of the base, I'm going to guess they were able to notice what everybody was wearing. Like if they were wearing particular, other than just the red rag, of course, if they were wearing particular style of clothes or carrying certain weapons.
They were, I'll say they were quite reasonably well dressed, not necessarily suit and tie, but with it being the headquarters, they were a bit more pristine, as it were, but obviously still wearing their gang sort of insignias and whatnot.
So I got a bit of an idea if everybody wants to hear it.
Okay, so that's going to kind of lead us, now we've had 2 ideas, that's going to kind of lead us to the sort of direction that the score is going to kind of go in.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And we need to figure that out. 1 second. Because you've got infiltration, you've got brute force, as it were. So that is what we're going to try and find now. Just so.
Assault, deception, stealth, occult, social, or transport.
Can I get one more dice roll given the information that we found?
What are you trying to get with that?
So, as we were discussing, basically just doing a heavy assault using our various other crew members to spread their forces thin.
Well,
Can
to
I
be
roll?
honest, I didn't quite answer Ryan's question when he asked that. So,
Gotcha.
to kind of go back to that, it's not a suicide mission now because a lot of their forces have gone underground. It's not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not going to be hard. Well, not going to be impossible, should I say.
So with my knowledge of skirmish, basically fighting tactics, would sending the thugs out further weaken their headquarters, or would it just put them on higher alert? Is the information I'm trying to find out.
The thugs going out, because they represent you, would definitely kind of give them a heads up that you are retaliating. So there is a chance that it could go either way, really.
Okay.
Because if they realize that it is the thugs acting in your stead, then they could kind of go, oh, this is a distraction. All depends how smart they are, to be fair.
All right, so before we pull the trigger on our engagement roll, Eric, what was in brief your idea?
So I could go inside and take a look with a disguise. I got cloak and dagger, and I'm pretty good with a disguise.
That'd be more of a
And
social
worst case, you
style
guys could.
engagement.
Well, I was gonna say, worst case, you guys can all start shooting once I'm inside, and then I'll already be in there.
All right, so let's do it like this then. DM, I know we're getting to like the engagement roll and all that kind of jazz to get this set up. Why don't we plan for an assault? Everybody take a heavy load. We just do a front door hit. But Cricket, you take your time to see if you can get in and basically kind of Trojan it up, right? Like, see if you can get in just to unlock the door for us. If you can unlock the door and we can walk in, fantastic. If not, Tommy will make a new door and we'll do it anyway.
I also think Dark Light, right, is also extremely well suited to infiltrating in. I mean, his entire
Oh, that's true. He said he
skill
was
set is
all
based on stealth and
jump
infiltration. So if we can get one person in with a disguise and another person, say, just inside sabotaging, that gives us two little bonuses of having people on the inside when the frontal assault happens. Because remember, I can engage a gang one on however many on equal footing. Like I have the ability to just go full whirlwind mode and engage as many people as I possibly can. So the door guards are not going to be an issue. If we can get somebody on the inside to say open the door for us, we can knock these guys out on the front and then be inside before they have a time to really adjust and react. And so I think for our takeover, instead of having our thugs try and draw more people out, once we hit the headquarters, our thugs should start hitting subsequent holdings of the Crimson Lions. That way we have control of the majority of their organization by the time we're done.
All right, DM. So that means if we did this right, correct me if I'm wrong. So we're going to choose an assault operation. The missing detail that our gather information rolls got us was that most of their forces are in hiding, but the bigwigs are still in the brothel. So then we got to choose our loadout and then make the engagement roll, right?
So essentially, yeah.
All right. I say let's gear up and do this, guys. Anybody opposed? I like the plan. We send Cricket and Darklight in there ahead of time to see if they can make things smoother, and then the rest of us just hit the front door.